Hey guys, welcome back. And today I'm going to be going over a really common, frequently asked question that I get all the time from coaches, players, parents. And that is, what causes crow hopping or replanting or leaping off the rubber, which, as we know, is an illegal pitch. It is an illegal pitch. Don't ask me why no umpires are calling it these days, okay? I think they're afraid of the coaches. But anyway, it is an illegal pitch, and even if it wasn't an illegal pitch, it takes away from your ground force, and it takes away from your posture, which are all things that take away from your power and command. So we don't want to crow hop or leap anyway. But the most common question I get is what causes them, and what can I do about it? So in my experience, there are 4 things, with 2 of them being major things that, in my experience, I've known and seen to cause crow hops, okay? The first is what I call opening the body too early, okay? So when we come off the rubber, we want to have our hips and shoulders square in a load. We want to push straight out with our hips, okay? Get into a nice square reach, and then open up and whip our hips through. If we're doing that, if we're really engaging our hips and pushing back with our drive foot and getting tall and back immediately, there should be physically no way that your drive foot can come up off the ground, okay? Sometimes, not sometimes, lots of times, what I see from pitchers is what I call opening too early. So they'll start to get a little open in the reach, and then in the load, and then what happens is when they go to get into the reach, instead of pushing and driving straight out with the hips, they open their hips and shoulders immediately. So it looks like this. You see what that did to my foot there, okay? When you whip your hips open too early, there's physically no way to have that glide forward. When you open your hips and shoulders too early, it creates a domino effect of postural issues, drive-through toe and knee issues, arm path issues. Very important to make sure you're engaging your hips and pushing straight out off the rubber and getting that weight tall and back immediately. That is the only way you're going to be able to keep your weight on that drive foot, which is going to make it impossible to crow hop or leap. Okay, so when you open those hips too early, it takes the weight off the drive-through foot. You physically cannot keep your toe and knee pointed forward. So very often what happens is the foot and knee very severely turn and replant. Okay? So that's probably the number 1 cause, I would say, that I've seen of crow hops, replanting, leaping, is that opening too early. And what you can do is really work on your pitcher's glute strength, their posterior chain, getting that strength so that they're getting into that good load position and then really extending their hips forward as they come off the rubber and getting that weight back so they're getting that good initial glide off the rubber and not taking the weight off of that drive foot. The second most common issue I've seen that causes probably more leaping than crow hopping is poor posture getting into the reach. It's very important to remember and understand that the load is the only position of the pitch where we are not tall and stacked. As soon as we get out of the load and push ourselves into that reach part of the pitch, hips got to get under the shoulders, we got to be tall, we got to be stacked, and we got to be that way the entire rest of the pitch. So what I very frequently see from what I'll call leaping pitchers is they'll get to that load position and maybe they'll be nice and square, but when they go off the rubber, they're never extending their hips forward. They're using more of their upper body and their arms to take them off the rubber instead of their lower half. So it looks like this. Okay? So the load on the rubber, and they'll never get that good hip extension, and the weight goes forward. As soon as your weight goes forward over that front leg, as soon as you're not using your hips and your lower half to get you off the rubber, the weight of your body gets taken off of your drive foot, it comes off the ground, okay? So what your pitchers need to work on, very similar to the pitchers that open too soon, that glute strength, that ability to get the hips under the shoulders and push back off the rubber with the lower half to get that glide off the rubber and to get that weight so that your weight is back over the back foot, okay, instead of coming forward with the upper body and the arms, which takes a lot of that weight off of the drive-through foot and allows it to come up off the ground. That's probably the second most common cause of leaping or crow hopping that I've seen. The third one is less common, and it's kind of combined with the fourth one, okay? So the third one would be when I see pitchers push up off the rubber as opposed to pushing out and up off the rubber. So what you might see is a pitcher get into kind of like a not so great load, and then they'll kind of just push up onto their toe and land down, which can cause, you know, kind of a leap or a crow hop or a replant, as opposed to driving outwards with that nice glide. As soon as you push up initially without any drive outwards, it's very easy for that foot to come up off the ground, okay? And a lot of times what causes that is reason number 4, which is getting into a poor load position. When you get into a poor load position, you're not engaging the correct muscle groups to get you that good launch and drive off the rubber, to get you to a position where you're able to engage your glutes and your hips to get that good launch and drive off the rubber. So a lot of times what I'll see is pitchers sitting back onto the back foot or just never getting to that forward position, and that makes it pretty much impossible to drive outwards off the rubber. They're going to be much more likely to push up off the rubber, which again can create that crow hop or leap. So you want to make sure that your pitcher is getting to that forward loaded sprinter's-like position for her load, and then really extending forward with their hips so that they're getting that weight back over the back foot, and they're staying square to the catcher before they open up and deliver the pitch. Okay, so I hope you guys have found this helpful. These are the 4 most common issues that I've seen that can contribute to crow hopping or leaping, with the first 2, you know, that opening too soon and the weight going forward being by far the most detrimental ones. Okay, I hope you guys have found this helpful. I've got a lot more videos coming soon, and I'll talk to you next time.